Good evening, everyone. I hope you all are having an amazing weekend and are ready to play next week with a lot of earnings coming out again. Seasonality looking pretty choppy in the sense that one day up, one day down kind of moves. Possibility with some volatility that can creep up a little bit. I'll talk to you about that in a little bit there, and after that I also want to I do not have any topics for to talk about this week per se, but I will try to share some nice trade ideas at the end of the video, and we can probably wrap up with those. But without further ado, let me start off with our seasonality chart, where like we have uh, Monday kind of starts off pretty bad. Usually the seasonality per se, if you look at how the seasonality of the election months kind of goes, February is like the 11th best month in the year, meaning from it's the second worst month in the year, right? So and the average return on in February is usually negative 0.4% on S&P 500, and January kind of ends the nice bull run usually the market has from all the way from November to January. So the first 2 days of February are usually quite bullish. That's what we kind of outlined last week, right? Like we have a dip into FOMC, and then you have like that big rip kind of a situation into Thursday. That's something that happened last week, and then that trickled down a little bit into Friday. But I'll talk a little bit about Friday afterwards. Next week, right? Like we Monday kind of opens pretty bad, I would say. Like anything under 40 and over 60, over 60 is what I kind of take a little bit more seriously in this kind of a in this statistics, right? Like this basically is clear statistics that we are taking out from 1990. It does not mean that it should be a red day, right? It just means that in the past, for the last 20 years or so, we have seen only 38% of the time that this particular day was green. So S&P 500 about 62% of the time was red on Monday, and much more weaker on the Nasdaq front. But Dow kind of relatively stays flattish, probably because of oil kind of popping up or something like that. That might happen tomorrow. After that, on Tuesday, we have a rebound again. S&P having a nice little rebound with 67, and Nasdaq with 62. Dow also kind of shows strength there. Any number over 60, we kind of take it a little bit more seriously. So any weakness on Monday can be assured for a weakness on Tuesday into Tuesday. So just a little bit cautious there if you're trying to play put swings thinking that market became weak. Wednesday a little choppy. Thursday Nasdaq and S&P look a little bit more stronger. Friday the same thing. Nasdaq looks a little bit stronger, and kind of expected too, right? Like if you're looking at the seasonality chart, and then I'll also explain to you on the chart as to what I'm thinking about this Nasdaq strength that seasonality is kind of showing. Also, I'll try to talk to you about that as well. But that's what I see in the seasonality front, and I feel this week is going to be like a one day up, one day down kind of a scenario. Like if you see Monday is weak, Tuesday is strong, Wednesday is kind of fizzling out, and then Thursday, Friday are again strong. So we'll see what happens there. But that's what the seasonality report kind of tells you on the weekly time frame. Next one, when you're talking about the earnings calendar this week, there are a few that I'm looking for. Let me get out my pen here. Let me see if I can. Come on. Okay, I don't know why that's not working. Probably I'll just quit it and then okay. Yeah, I'll probably quit it and then can reopen it. Give me one moment. Okay. Anyway, so on the seasonality front, I'm looking at Caterpillar. Caterpillar can, if you want to, I mean, obviously, you might have to you might have to swing it. DE is the one that you want to look for. McDonald's is something else that I play like very rarely, but then I play it when there is strength and it has a move. The IV on these stocks is quite low, so they don't move as much. So I kind of tend to like ignore them. But when they do move, the IV kind of inflates quite a bit along with the premium. So that's when I try to play it. So we'll see what happens with McDonald's and Caterpillar at the open. I'll be listening in or reading through their transcripts and things like that, and I can probably give you a better guide on it. But those are the couple that I'm looking for. So let me get my tool opened up. So we have Caterpillar that is something that I'm interested in. We have McDonald's that I'm interested in. Next up, Lilly. LLY. This is something that we have played before and made quite a good amount of money. So that's something that I'll be looking out for. Snap is another one that I like to look for because even though it's a small to mid cap kind of a situation there. So but it moves the market, and previously, Snap used to report before Meta. Now they kind of it has reversed out, and Meta is doing quite well when after its earnings reports every single time. And Snap has been a sympathy run with it. Right now, I did point out the short-term flow on Snap. They are up about 80%. But if there is a pullback, you probably might want to look for that strike again. Enphase is another one that that was requested in our chat, so I'll probably go over that on the chart later on. Chipotle always up. There are a few stocks that are always up during earnings. Lululemon, Alta, and then you have Chipotle. I just don't know why they keep going up every single time they report earnings, but they usually explode. So keep an eye out for Chipotle too. I have checked the flow, but I haven't seen anything significant on it. So keep an eye out for that on during its earnings. Alibaba, obviously on a lookout. Yeah, it's a great stock, but then I'm not going to touch it at all. The last time I think I played something bullish on Alibaba was about 2 weeks back, and we did pretty good. That's also a stock that I kind of generally play here and there. I'm very, very interested in Disney. I think it can pop over 100. I think they're trying to unlock their business as well, right? Where they are trying to sell off their assets, and we did see some positive news around how they were selling off assets, about 60% or 80% of their Indian business also, which is pretty great, and that's something that I'm looking out for. PayPal is another one that I'm looking out. There's quite a bit of call interest in there for PayPal on the flow, so that's something that I will be looking out for. Other than that, yeah, that's mostly what I can. Yeah, maybe probably Pepsi. Is Coke also reporting this week or no? Yeah, if Coke is not reporting this week, I think Pepsi KO can be played as a sympathy play for Pepsi. So that's that's all I have to look for this earnings season. Give me one moment while. Where is my okay? All right. Sorry about that. Just wanted to turn on the light. All right. So these are the stocks that I'll be looking out for my earnings calendar this week. So keep an eye out for that. Next one, coming up to the macro front, there's nothing much that I am extremely interested in on this chart. But then on Wednesday and Thursday, we do have the 10-year and the 30-year bond auction. 10-year and 30-year both have moved the markets in the recent past. So those are something that I'll be looking out for midday. Especially if you all remember IWM, that's what we keep killing, right? Every single time there's this auction. So keep an eye out for that. I will be giving you out the strike to look for when we do have a dip, and look for those premiums which are around 10 cents to 15 cents. They can easily explode up to 80 to $1. during the dip and then the rep kind of scenario if it does happen. So I will definitely give you the strikes and what to look for and things like that. But other than that, most of this week seems like a lot of Fed is out. Like, Bostic is out, then Bostic is out. Then we have Mester, we have Kugler. I have never heard of him. Barkin, Bowman, Barkin again. Like that's a lot of people coming out and talking about all these interesting things. Again, there's the loan officer survey and things like that, which can kind of affect IYR, but otherwise, pretty clean macro. I mean, nothing much per se that I can say, oh, you know what, look for this when this happens. These are the scenarios that you want to look for. I'm not really interested in that per se, but 10-year and 30-year is something that I'll be looking out for to trade IWM 0-day position. So that's all I have on the macro front. So that's about it. So without after that, let's quickly get into SPY. I want to start off with the 65-minute chart here. So on the 65-minute chart, again, bears have absolutely nothing. They like we have seen that dip into FOMC. They have created that. Like, there was this little bear gap that was open here, but then we filled it, and then we absolutely ravaged after that as well. So the bulls right now, they seem kind of unstoppable. But when scenarios kind of flip, right? Like when you see things that can like when the bull algo kind of gets turned off, there'll be very nasty rug pulls in the market, and that's when you want to be a little bit more careful. I'm not saying you will see a rug pull this week or next day or midweek next week or something like that. I'm not saying that, but I definitely feel we are at a place where we probably are in a zone where we can expect a pullback, a little bit of a pullback towards 477.50 at least is what I'm thinking. Obviously, the next time we when if we do break, the next time we break, when we retest for 482.50, that's when I will definitely be short of the market. I will buy some puts and probably swing some puts on the weekly time frame as well, because I think that will be the third touch that we will have, and we will probably have a bigger and easier dip. Because if you see the structure here, right, like there's not much basing per se, right? Like how you have it here, like every single time you if you do see a little bit of a dip towards like 489 to 487, we'll probably find some support there, right, because of this basing pattern that we have seen here. But then once we see a little bit more dip here towards 482, we'll probably see some more because we did see some basing pattern here, we'll probably find some support. But then that support will be a dead cat bounce, if at all that there is a dead cat bounce, or the bears can obviously gap it down under 482.50, and because of the thin structure that we have here, we can easily see 477.50 to fill this bull gap as well. So that is where I'm kind of expecting some kind of a shenanigan move towards 477.50 in the short term kind of scenario. Probably will happen after the OPEX, which is next week, right? We have Feb OPEX, and usually Feb OPEX is quite bullish, in the sense that Nasdaq is a little bit more weaker than IWM, so we might see a little bit of a broad-based rally that can happen per se next week. But in the shorter term, when I say shorter term, I mean by the end of Feb, we'll probably see 477.50. So for some of you who have been asking me, oh, do I go 480 puts on SPY for end of March, 480 puts for end of June? Yes, you can, but then I am not a trader who tries to guess the top and says, okay, you know what, this is where we might have the top, and you can probably get it. But if you have the mental capacity to see a red in your account and be okay with it, and be able to ride that trade all the way, like 2 to 3 weeks out, and you understand your time frames, you're in your May puts and still down 20-25%, but you should understand that when there is a rug pull or when there is a downturn, you can easily cover that loss, right? Like, because you have the time to for that trade to really work out. So just try to understand that, and if you are doing that, if you are willing to do that, yes, go for it. But I'm not a trader who tries to guess the top or the bottom. I'm pretty happy, right? Like, this is what I keep telling you. I did not catch this, right? Did you see me catch the calls here? No, I did not catch this bounce. But then when I saw that, yes, we are reclaiming back 487.50, that's when I went long snow, right? Like, what happened to snow? What happened to shop? What happened to all these other stuff? Like, right? Like, and then we sold it here, like around 494. That was our first target. We sold it there, and then we just sat out. We were like, okay, you know what? We'll see. And then once 494 broke, that's when I took a roll up on snow again and said, okay, let's see what happens on snow at this particular point, right? So there are unlimited opportunities that the market kind of gives. You don't really have to catch the exact bottom or the exact top to make the money. The majority of the money was here in this particular move, right? Like, when you saw the 487.50 break, you can easily play it up to 489, and when you saw the 489 break, you could have easily played it up to 491 to 494. So there is quite a bit of move that can happen in between the top and bottom. You don't really have to go after the top and bottom per se to make money in options, or anywhere else, right? Like, you there is no way I would have guessed, okay, you know what, we would not gap down. But then what did I do? I did not play puts. I did not play calls. I was like, okay, you know what, I don't want to play puts because we did not lose 480 to 50. I don't want to play calls because we closed at the lows of the day. I really don't know if we would gap down there, and my positions would get literally smacked, right? Like, so you have to be aware of that. You don't have to FOMO about it. You can see where the market is going and then try to position yourself, and that's exactly what we are doing in the market right now. So I'm not bearish in the market, but then I know that we are at the tail end of the rally, and if you want to go after May, June puts, yeah, go for it. Given the momentum that we are at right now, 500 is kind of I feel 500 is possible. I hope my Thinkorswim is up. Yes, my Thinkorswim is up. I can probably show you something that I'm not liking in the market, and which kind of prompts me to say we might see some kind of a volatility spike in the market this week. If you see, when we had the selling, let me get you the SPY chart here. I know we have it right here, but then I'll try to put it right here. And let me do 5-day 15-minute. That should be nice. Okay, so if you see the cumulative tick, and then you have the tick and vol D, right? Like, if you see this, you see that in let me get the arrows from my tools. Okay, so if you see, on Wednesday we had some nice little selling, right? We had that nice little selling. We did see that cumulative tick really hitting off and trending down, and we had that selling, which was good, right? Like, then we had a very nice buying on Thursday, which was very, very nice too. That was the nice rally that we had. But on Friday, this was what I was I was seeing. Like, I was like, okay, you know what, the internals are not acting right. You had the breadth indicator saying, okay, the breadth is not good, and then you had a concentrated rally. Like, you saw the Mag 7, that the heavyweights rallying, and rest of the market was just like, I don't really care about what the market is doing. I am staying down, or I'm not going to move. If you look at IWM, it was actually an inside day compression. So when something like this happens, it kind of tells me you either have to be extremely cautious in the market, or you just have to just play the momentum and quickly get out, right? Like, you don't want to swing, or you don't want to do anything per se. Just play the momentum and quickly get out. That's the scenario. And more often than not, when I saw market internals being this way, and not supporting the rally, I have not seen the rally sustaining, right? Like what do I mean by that? It probably means that I'm expecting a little bit of a pullback in the market, probably Monday or Tuesday. Obviously, looking at the tick and the breadth, I can't assess the market for the week, right? Like I can probably give you a good assessment for the day or for the day or probably the next day. I can't really tell you, oh, this is going to be really really bad for the rest of the year, right? That's not what these indicators kind of tell you. So when this cumulative tick was not really giving me any like confidence. Obviously I was not trading Friday. My family needed me, so I was out. But then afterwards, when I was looking at this, I was like, okay, you know what? This is not a sustainable run, and that was what I was kind of expecting going into Monday. That's where I was like, okay, you know what? I have Adobe, which is up pretty good. I'll sell it. I had Snow. I'll sell it. I'll probably sell most of my positions, and then I'll just probably swing a little bit of a profit. I'm and I'm going from there, right? That is also why, if you remember, on Friday, I also sold off the IVR. I was like, on the small account. Small account, I only took 8 trades till now. This we started it in on my birthday on December 3rd, and then I think we only took 8 trades on it. Until now, most of them are swings. Most of them we scale out at around over 50%, and every single trade was half the account, right? Like the next trade I take will be around $2,100. Every single trade I take is half the account, and that's how I'm doing it. And most of you will say, you know what, I don't see you trade this account much at all. You and But then, if you think about it, just 8 trades, I might probably be outperforming a 99.9% traders trading this account, right? So just keep that in mind. You don't really have to trade a lot to make a lot of money. You don't as long as you have the conviction, you see that very high confidence setup, that's when you probably will get in. So that is where midday I saw that internals kind of not supporting the move. That was where I thought, okay, you know what, I'll be a little bit more cautious. I'll probably swing only the profits that I have. And that's where I was like, okay, roll up on Snow, put in 1,000, have some IVR in my main account, and we'll see what happens. It's for March, and Snow is for weeklies, and we'll see what happens, right? So no, I wouldn't say no skin in the game. Like, there is a little bit skin in the game, based off because I am rolling in some profits in there. But then you have to play the momentum. You can't really say, oh, you know what, I'll play puts right here. This is the top. There is, like, I have heard the market has topped double tops, head and shoulders, blah blah blah, all over November, December, and January. I have never said be careful or cautious, and we were always hitting off those nice runs. Now is the time to be cautious. Now there is a lot of euphoria in the market. It is unwarranted euphoria, I would say. Like, right, where bulls are extremely cocky. They are like, oh, you know what, every dip I'll just buy the dip. And that's how market kind of conditions you. It conditions you to buy the dip and once it switches the algorithm to not be buy the dip, you still keep buying the dip and lose all your profits that you have already made, because if you're losing 20%, like, let's say you made 100% from your $100. Now you're sitting at $200. Now you just have to lose 50% to lose back all your gains, right? So it is so very easy for the market to condition you in such a way that it gives you and takes much faster. So keep that in mind, and that's why I'm being very cautious. I'm trying to tell you, size down. This is not the time to size up. We will play the momentum. We will make money, but then now is the time to size down. So anyway, the levels that I'm looking out for this week, 494 is a must hold. If 494 does not hold, 491.50 comes, and 489. These are your two levels to the downside that you want to look for. On the upside, you have 500. There is I don't have any levels per se from 494 to 500. You probably might probably see some resistance around 497, because I did see that on the on the 15-minute chart. I was trying to draw some fibs of the cup and handle and the bull flags, and there was a little bit of confidence around the 497 level. But other than that, I don't see much resistance all the way up to 500, where again, if the internals are not telling me that we have a strong rally, we have a broad-based rally, we are seeing that strong internals coming through, and VIX also is staying low, I'm not going to be in a position to say we are going to keep 500 there, and we are going to keep rallying on all the way to 508 or whatnot. If we do hit 500 and we don't see any strength in the internals, I will probably pick some SPX puts, 4900 puts, 4800 puts, all the way up till May. Each contract will be about $50 or so, $50-$60, but then you can easily make them about 100-120 per contract, based off how we kind of move in Feb and March. So I'll keep you posted on that, and we'll see what to do. But those are the levels that I have on SPY for this week. Next one is QQQ. I said I'll talk about the strength on QQQ. The biggest thing that the bears have to dismantle to create some kind of a panic in QQQ or in any of these tech is they have to be able to fill this island bull gap, right? Until and unless that island bull gap is open, I wouldn't like, there won't be any fear in tech. That is all I can say. Like, though that island bull gap is extremely important for the bears to dismantle. Unless and until that is taken off, we can, even if we dip to 410, there will be buy the dip activity in the market. There will be some sector in the tech itself that will keep running. So that is what I'll be searching for to trade as well. Like when Nvidia was running, we started trading Nvidia. When SMCI was running, we started trading SMCI. When AVGO was running, we started trading AVGO. Snow was running, we were in Snow. So that is, I will just look for the momentum plays and just stay on them, hit them up, beat them up, try to make as much money as possible of them. I will not be scared until and unless that island bull gap is completely filled in the market, and that's where I would probably try to say, you know what, okay, 390s, 390, 395s is possible on QQQ. Again, I don't trade QQQ of the 65-minute time frame. It's mostly SPY. But if we do see a dip towards like 413, there's good support. There is very good support at 407. 393 is where I would probably buy the dip on QQQ for long term if you want to look for any long term plays. Again, going to election years, going into the election, you usually see a dip into Feb and March, and then after that, the summer is usually very, 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 very good. So go away, sell and go away kind of summer or something like that. It's not going to work out this year. I think it did not work out last year too. Like that last year, I remember, when did we start our Roth account? In April, right? April. I forgot. But anyway, after the banking crisis is when I started the Roth account. I think I remember it was in April, and then we hit off Intel and things like that. But anyway, we'll see what happens then. But I do think summer is going to be pretty good for stocks again. February, March we won't lose money. Like how I trade, you kind of might have known already. I don't lose a lot of money. I make money, and then I'm hugging them so tight that unless and until I see my setups, I'm not really looking for big trades. But here on Friday, we did see a nice little breakout here on QQQ. What I mean by that is we had this trend line, if you all remember, and that's the trend line that we kind of broke, hit that 430. I think we there is a possibility of seeing 434 this week on QQQ, and the levels that I'll be looking out for, obviously 430, 434 for the upside, and then to the downside is 425, probably a retest of this trend line, and 425 will act as strong support. That's where we will again, just like we played IWM last week, we played snow last week. Same trend line and the vertical support and the horizontal supports, if they align, we'll probably pick up some calls for swings, get 50-60% on the day, probably sell like half or 3/4, and then swing some profits into the next day, hit something big off of that, right? So we'll see what to do there, but that is that. I mean, 425, the trend line, that's essentially what I'll be looking out for this week to play the bounce on QQQ. Probably we'll get it tomorrow. Hopefully we do get it tomorrow, and then we can probably play the seasonality into Tuesday, which is much more easier for us because we have a nice little game plan kind of unfolding at that point, right? So it'll be nice, and it'll be more confident to do that once we see something like that. So keep those levels on watch on QQQ. Next one is IWM. I do want to talk about IWM this week because of the nice little consolidation that's happening here on IWM. We have that inside day on Friday. That's something that I think I said at the starting of the call, but 196 breaks, we can see 199, 200, and the measured move of this particular wedge, if we can move to the upside here, we can move all the way to 202 to 205. So there is quite a bit of move that can happen on IWM here. If we do break below, we'll probably play some puts towards 187 to 184. Right now I don't have a confirmation. I will be waiting and seeing what to do. Again, 10-year and 30-year bond auctions, those are what are very, 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 very important. I saw on Friday midday, like we were seeing a lot of shots that were piling into Cray, right? But then the regional banks, and then we saw something that was very weird was we saw millions of dollars that were being put into IYR, which is the real estate sector. And then we saw a lot of calls being bought for Cray 2.9. I think the market is trying to call bullshit on what Powell is saying. And they don't want to believe that there would be a rate cut for March for some reason. I don't know why they don't want to believe it. I definitely cannot. I'm not a macro expert, but I trade the macro data based off what I see or read between the lines. That's why we were playing IYR, we were playing TLT last week, IYR last week. When I see something like that, I'll call it out, and we have the trade alert out, right? So we have the trade alert out and things like that. But this is it's you have to wait for that for the big flows to come in, right? Once the big flows come in, and that's where you want to look for the macro scenario, what's unfolding here, what might be the story here, and try to read between the lines to make some good money on those kinds of trades. I'm no macro expert, and we'll see what happens, but based off the flow right now, what these whales know, I do not know, but I think that 10-year and 30-year bond auction will be in favor for IWM. If we do see a dip into them, we'll probably play the rip. I will keep you guys posted, and we'll with the strikes and what to expect and things like that. But 10-year, 30-year, those are something that you want to look for. This is a nice little setup that's being formed on IWM. I can't really say, oh, we are going to the moon here or going to crater here. This is a consolidation. The market moves in compressions and expansions, right? Like when there is compression, you want to keep an eye out for it, and when there's an expansion, ride the momentum. That's essentially what I do, right? Like I'll show you snow chart as to what I was seeing and why I was so interested in snow once you see the compression and things like that. So here that's essentially what I'm seeing here on IWM, and the flow is telling you a story. IWM is compressing. We'll see what happens based of what the story being unfolded on the story being told on the flow. I think IWM is bullish. I don't have a position, but then I that's the bias that I'm forming based off what I am seeing, right? So we'll see what happens. Once there is momentum, we'll probably play it, and we'll probably make some good money there. So let me quickly go into our core list of companies. First one, let's talk about Apple. Apple, I want it all the way down to 177 and 171. Did not add it on the on the drop. I want it at 171 or 171 to 177. That's where I'll probably add some shares for long term again. This is one of the stock that I mean, not just one. I made pretty good. I sold pretty good stocks at a very decent. A very decent size at a very low rate, like Nvidia pre-split. I sold it at 120, and Meta I sold it at 155, and this one I sold it at 179 179 or 178. This was in 2022 December is when I sold it. Hasn't I mean it did see under that price for some time in 2023, but then I haven't added back Apple per se. Apple, I'll probably add 171 to 174 this year. We'll see if we can get there. 187 and 183. These are the two levels that I'll be looking out for this week. If 187 kind of breaks, 192 comes. I did see quite a bit of bullish flow on Apple again towards 200. We'll see what happens there. So keep an eye out for that 187 level this week on Apple. Adobe is one of the nice setups that I like, and I'm playing. I was long Adobe. I think one of these days we got it and we played it for the upside. We didn't make much though, but then on Friday we did good here. We had a little dip, and that's when we bought it, and then it went up towards 640, almost close to 640, but then was not able to break it. If 640 was broken, I would have probably kept all the positions that I had. But keep an eye out for 640. If 640 can break 660 and 675, these are my targets above. On a retest of 61550, I wouldn't mind going. Actually, wait. Sorry, we are at 634. So a retest of 627, I probably wouldn't mind playing the bounce intraday to play some to capture some move on Adobe. Adobe is something that I like playing on Thursdays and Fridays. I don't really like playing them on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. The premiums are pretty high, and the other part is like something that I don't like about Adobe is it trades light, and once I get in and I alert it, and people complain about not getting a fill, they chase and do all that sorts of nonsense. So I kind of try to keep myself away from it, but if there is a very very good setup, I'll probably shout it out before I take an entry, and just as always, I'll give you the strike. I'll give you what price that I would want, what price I would like to enter into, and that's when we'll probably get in. So that's mostly about Adobe here. Next one is AMD. Very, 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 very strong. 185 needs to break for 192 and 200. There is quite a bit of flow for 200 into May and June for AMD, along with Nvidia's 800s and 850s. That I just feel it's a lot of euphoria there. I personally would like AMD to dip towards 151. 151 would be a good area for a nice bounce play. If it gets there, well and good. But right now, feels a little bit more euphoric. I would probably sell some covered calls on this if you have shares long. AMD is one of the best stocks out there. Like I keep telling you about this patterns that keep repeating themselves, right? Like look at this. This is something that we played in 2021. Same thing happened, and then it kind of ran. Here again, 2023, same thing happened, then it ran. Same thing happened again in September, October time, and then it ran, created that wedge, again ran, right? So these are some patterns that you like these are my favorite patterns, by the way. These are all falling wedges and looked very, very good. That's why I kind of played AMD's swings also last year. So uh, again, if we do see that elongated falling wedges or things like that, I'll probably pick up swings again when we see some pattern like this. But right now, I don't see a pattern. There's a lot of euphoria. We'll probably sell some covered calls, but I mean, if we do see a drop, I do see 151 and 140. These are the two levels that it might probably retest here on AMD. If there is going to be a very nasty pullback on SMH, let's say, that's when you will probably see 125s. But seeing 10s, 20s, 25, 50s, those days are all gone for AMD. I feel that's mostly about what I think about AMD. Extra this one, I think we nailed Amazon here. Been long since 95, and it not 95 1995, since 95 price. And I think we were extremely bullish going to Amazon earnings. Obviously, we do not play Amazon calls per se, because like we don't play the stock which has a lot of IV associated with it. But then we played Snow, we played Shop. Both paid pretty good. I mean, Amazon as a whole, I think 200 is possible this year. We sold covered calls for 200 into December, which is pretty good. Very, very high premium as well there. And any kind of correction towards like 160s, I'll probably sell some CSPs again towards 147, 150. If it comes down to 150, I'll probably average up. I think last week, let me see. Last week, yeah, last week, the all these options kind of expired worthless for Google and Amazon. We ate up all the premiums there. So now we are we sold covered calls. I don't know why this is 100%, but anyway, we sold covered calls again for December. So it should be quite good. If we like, it's a win-win, right? Like if it does go to what we say 200, we'll probably sell off our shares at 200, which is totally fine. I don't really care about that. I mean, 95 to 200 in 2 years, pretty good. So yeah, that's mostly what I think. It's been quite good overall. Last 3 weeks, like a couple of lotto trades that we failed last week. We had a little bit of a loss early in we cut a stop loss on Snow, but then these contracts from 1.7 to 10, they did quite well too. But we covered it with a couple of more trades later on with Snow there, 200% each time. That was pretty good. But overall, Amazon, I think 200 is possible this year. If we do see our shares being called off, totally fine. I'll give you some good prices to get back into. But yeah, Amazon is an absolute no-brainer to be long on right now for me. Next one is AVGO. Yeah, 12:30. That's the level that needs to break early in the week. If it can break about 12:30, I'll probably play some 1300 calls. I do think 1280 can come very, very fast there. So keep an eye out for that. This one is following our levels to the T, looking really, really nice here. If we can break about 12:30, that's when I'll probably go long. Nothing to be worried about. If we dip towards 1200, we'll see how chips are working out on the week, and then we can probably play it too. So keep an eye out for that. BA 204, that's a 204, 205. That's a level that needs to break. If 204, 205 is broken, that's when we go down to 197 and then 190. I do think this is the megaphone pattern that I was drawing up. I think this is like a bear flag that we are getting into also. Once we kind of break down 204, we go down to 197, and then there is a chance that BA can go all the way down to 170 this year. Their conference call was extremely gloomy, extremely bad, and I for one will not believe in this pump. I think we hold some runners on BA puts, right? Like we had some runners left on BA puts. We'll see. I think 200 puts for weeklies is what we kind of have. Did I alert a sell? I don't remember. But anyway, but like if we can break down, if we can break 204 earlier in the week, there's a chance we see 197.50 this week as well. So keep an eye out for that. Next one is Google. This is another one that we own a lot of shares in. A monster candle on Friday, coming right back into the wedge. Now this becomes a look below and rip kind of situation, where we can probably see 150 again on Google here. I don't know how soon we would see it, but then there is quite a bit of possibility of seeing 150. 144 is the first level that you want to break here. Once 144 is broken, 147 and 151 both are possible on Google in the short term sense. Next one is Goldman Sachs. This one's something I've been looking out for to play, but then haven't had the chance to play it given how low the volume is on all the strikes. Looks pretty good with the break and close above 386.50. If banks can run after the 30-year, 10-year and 30-year, I think Goldman Sachs is one of my main targets that I would want to look out for, to the price target of 400 here. So keep an eye out for that. Let's see. ENPH is something that someone has, so I'll go over ENPH as well. Obviously, I don't have the levels, but let me see how the chart kind of looks. Let's draw some trend lines, right? Like this is a very clean, neat trend line, right? And then if you haven't followed my how I'm drawing trend lines and why I'm drawing those trend lines, just go over the trend line video that I have out there. You can probably learn something as basics and then go from there. Yeah, this is not very enticing or very valid per se. Yeah, this is a good one. I think we broke down. Yeah, I'm not interested in this trade at all. I think we broke down. There's a possibility we see 95s, 82s. Yeah, I'll probably give you levels if you want to, but I know someone asked me because they wanted to play FSLR for ENPH earnings. This looks bad. It broke down. I can say it broke down. Uh, so yeah, this is not it. Like this is the right trend line, but then I think we broke down. I think their earnings are going to be bad. I mean, based off the chart, obviously earnings are a coin flip, but I would be a little bit more bearish on ENPH. I did not see any flow after you asked me. I did go check the flow. I did not see any major flow per se on ENPH. We'll see what happens here, but based off the chart, it's bearish. So keep an eye out for that. Um, next one. Let's see what else. Oh, Netflix was one that I was looking out for. Nice little pennant that it has formed. 563. If it can break down below that, that's when we can probably see 548 the same week. Probably the next day as well. Disney earnings this week. This can also be your proxy play. But then this looks like a bull pennant, and 600 seems like a possibility on Netflix. Keep an eye out for that. 580 level here, and if 580 kind of breaks, we can probably see 600 pretty fast as well. So I don't know which side this will break. This looks like a bull pennant right now, with a little bit of a peak under. But this 563 level acted as support. So yeah, keep an eye out for Netflix this week. Probably will be a proxy play into Disney earnings. If we make some good profits earlier in the week, I'll probably play some Netflix midweek and see what we can do. So keep an eye out for that. Next one is Nvidia. Oh my goodness, it broke through 660 also. All right, it broke through 660, 700, 735. These are your next targets. There's a lot of call flow on Nvidia. 625 dip is something that I would be interested in earlier in the week. We'll see what happens there. If 625 breaks, 600 comes quite fast. It is, see, like this is what I keep telling you. The same kind of a scenario. We had this huge compression, right? And then the breakout happened. and then you see this huge compression, and then the breakout happened, and that's when we go long, right? Like that's when we catch the move. Right, so that's essentially what I'm always looking out for. So that's the move that I have on this one here. And 700 seems like a possibility. 625 retest is where I would probably look for Nvidia this week, and we can probably play some calls there. So keep an eye out for 625 this week. Level above is 660 and 700. So keep an eye out for those two levels as well. Oh yeah, I shouldn't forget MDB. This is one of my trade ideas too. Probably can play 450 calls here on the 438 break. And if we do see a pullback, usually stocks like MDB, ADB, Adobe, and Snow, what they do is once they kind of break out, they retest the trend line that they have broken out. That's how cloud stocks kind of move. I believe that's their personality. So I would be more interested in playing MDB if we have a retest of this trend line. I'm very interested in that trend line that I have there. Once we see a retest of the trend line, depending on the day it retests this week, I'll probably play some 420 calls or 430 calls. So we'll see what happens there. So that is the trend line that I'll be looking out for to play some calls. If we do see a breakout of 438, I'll probably play some 450 calls, and we can probably day trade that. But if we do see a dip, that's the spot I'll be looking out for on MDB. Like this is a nice consolidation, right? Like nice little consolidation that MDB had before it broke out. This is the same kind of pattern that you're seeing again on MDB. So this is an island bottom. So we'll see what happens here. 500 is a possibility on MDB, so keep an eye out for that. Cloud stocks this week, keep an eye out for those. Basically ADB, MDB, and Snow. Snow is another one that's absolutely wonderful. We had 220 price target, looking very, very good. Nice little consolidation that it had, and then we broke out finally. This is a nice little setup. If you look at Snow on the weekly, it's even better, right? Like you see how it kind of broke out of this whole big base that it has formed, and now it can go all the way to 243, 250, right? So if you want to go after end of Feb, 250 calls on Snow, I wouldn't say you're crazy, because how good the momentum the bulls have right now. And once we have the breakout, like after this nice little base that it has created, I think there's quite a bit of move left on Snow to move a lot more higher. So keep an eye out for that on Snow. 250 is possible on Snow now. I had 220, 234, and 250. 220 and 234 are my price targets for the mid for the short term, is what I said. 212 break the same day, we'll see 220. That's exactly what happened on Friday. That is very good. Now 220 breaks 234, and 234 breaks is 250. So keep an eye out for all these three levels here on Snow. I think 250 is quite possible here on Snow. Again, I'll repeat about Tesla. Tesla is a do not touch. I'm not going to trade it. The other one, another trade idea that I had was around Oxy. Where is Oxy? Where is it? Oh my goodness. Okay, there you go. I had. Okay. Oxy is another one that I had. I'm looking for this 58.50 break. With the war against Iran, and like all this things going on in the Middle East, I think we can see some kind of a pop on the oil. In the oil space, gold and oil are the couple of things that can pop when there is a war scenario that we stumble into. So keep an eye out for 58.50. Can probably see 60, 61, 60 again on Oxy. So those are the couple of levels that I'm looking out for the upside here. So that's all I have for this week. I hope it was helpful. I'll post out some more trade ideas later tonight before I sleep. But if you like this call, let me know in the comment section below. And we'll also have some topic for next week. This week I was kind of very busy with the family. So I haven't seen anyone ask me anything also. So took it kind of light this weekend, this weekend call. But we'll see next week. We'll probably talk about something about sizing, about what to do with options flow or things like that, and we'll go from there. Anyway, thanks a lot. Have a good rest of your weekend. I will see you guys on chat with the pre-market note.